My girlfriend's 23 female friend kissed me, 24 male, but she's threatening to tell her something else if I say anything. I'm at a loss on what to do. She kissed me in the hallway of my friend's home last night when we were all drinking. My girlfriend had just gotten off work, so she wasn't there yet. When I told her I was going to inform my girlfriend, she freaked out, and she said she'd tell her I pressed myself up against her to kiss and grope her. She had a solemn expression, as in, she will or she will claim I attempted worse on her, in which case my GF would not believe me since it was just the two of us in the hallway. Everyone else had gone downstairs. I'm so sorry I didn't tell my GF anything when she arrived, and I'm still thinking about it the following morning. I want to be honest about what her best buddy did, but I'm afraid she'll blame me. Update. The previous few days have been insane. For one thing, my partner is aware. She was taken aback, but I told her everything. Not just about what she did, but also about her threat to lie about my doing worse, which is why I was terrified to inform her. I was also concerned about how my partner might respond. She was taken aback and perplexed. She acted as though she wanted to weep. Then I found out something was wrong. This isn't the first time her best buddy has done something like this. But the last time she did it, it was with her high school ex-boyfriend. Only her buddy informed her that the man kissed her. My lady, on the other hand, trusted her buddy, which is why he is now an ex. She burst into tears. We embraced some more and spoke some more. Then everything became frantic. Her now former buddy decided to follow through on her threat. I told my girlfriend a different story in which I pushed myself on her. I allegedly covered her lips and attempted to her, but she managed to push me away and joined the rest of them. Only my girlfriend didn't accept her nonsense, and they got into a massive argument. Obviously, we were no longer friends, and my girlfriend was upset. I hated seeing her in such pain. I wish this hadn't had to happen. To make matters worse, she kept her promise and lied to all of our friends about what had transpired. She made herself a victim, and I informed them that my girlfriend is siding with a rapist against her own pal. Seriously, it was insane. My girlfriend was taken aback. That made her feel even worse. Our friends had texted her continuously about what a jerk she is, that I'm a monster, and that she should file a police complaint, which she was preparing to do since that's what she told her cousins. That lasted a few days. But that was so foolish because if anything like that occurred, why wouldn't she inform someone straight away? At least some of our partygoers didn't appear to believe her claim. Not all of them, but at least some of them. We'd had enough of this nonsense. My girlfriend went over to her place and persuaded her to acknowledge the lie. I'm not sure how she achieved it. It required a lot of talking, according to my girlfriend. She also discovered several flaws in her falsehoods. Then, an hour later, she received a text message from her, apologizing for spreading the falsehoods. She also asked if they could discuss since she doesn't want their friendship to end this way. Yeah, she doesn't want their friendship to end like that after kissing me without my permission, lying about an attack, and making my girlfriend seem like the bad person as well. So insane. To be honest, it all sapped us. My partner wasn't in a good mood, and I felt horrible for her. I tried to be there for her, holding her and telling her how much I loved her whenever she sobbed. We didn't want to do anything for Thanksgiving because of everything, so we came here for the final 2 days to stay at a hotel near the ocean and forget about everything. She's still grieving the loss of someone she believed she could rely on. I'm heartbroken for my daughter. I'm hoping things will improve now that she's gone. Edit. After hearing that I should consult with a lawyer, I know I probably should. Just for the record, and so that this doesn't come back to bite me in the future. I'm not sure when we'll be able to return home, but whenever we do, I'll attempt to speak with a lawyer. Thanks. Story 2. My 28 female fiancé, 27 male, says he dumped me if I cheated, and this is upsetting me. My fiancé and I have been married for 7 years. We were planned to marry last year, but the pandemic put that on hold, and now it's on indefinite pause since we both decided we aren't concerned by the idea of marriage and want to wait till we can have the enormous blowout wedding that everyone can attend that we've been saving for. One thing we've always had in common is that when we're drunk, we both become the same sort of person. We both become incredibly touchy, flirtatious, and lovey-dovey with whomever happens to be there. Boundaries are thrown out the window a bit in this case. Well, when we first met, a large part of our social life consisted of parties with lots of booze, but soon after, I got an internship, followed by job after job, that wasn't compatible with that, so my fiancé had about a year where he would attend without me before he also got a job that made that sort of thing impossible. I then discovered that he kissed a mate out with several random ladies while inebriated at the time. This occurred 3 or 4 times. I didn't find out until after the final one, just before he began the job. While I was first offended, I eventually recognized that it wasn't the act itself that had hurt me, but rather the ramifications of it. When individuals cheat, it usually signifies they are unhappy or want to leave their spouse, right? But I realized that wasn't the situation here. He was simply drunk and pleased, and those ladies happened to be around and willing. I wouldn't say I was excited about it, but after I made that leap, it seemed like no big deal, and I'm sure I'd be okay with it occurring again as part of a regular night out for him if it had occurred. For example, some individuals get drunk and have really personal heart-to-heart conversations with random strangers in which they share things they haven't told their spouse, and I believe I'd be more unhappy about that than a little tongue action. But as I said, work came first, so it didn't, and apart from his profuse apologies at the time, it didn't come up again. None of this had come up in years, until last week, when we were discussing another post on this sub, and he suddenly busted out the belief that cheating, any kind of cheating, is totally unforgivable and an instant relationship ender regardless of the length of time or circumstances surrounding the incident. There is never any excuse. Cheaters are all morally bankrupt in human beings, it's practically abuse and so on. Not to be misunderstood. I'm sure there are plenty of folks who believe that taking a strong stance is fantastic and exactly what they want to hear. This, on the other hand, gave me pause. I did remark that if that's the case, what does that make him in terms of his past behavior? What does it make him in terms of his present behavior? And did it suggest that if I continued to behave in the same manner as he did today, he would stop the relationship with me? His justification was that it wasn't the same since he was young and naive, and that if I did it now, he would leave me because I'm no longer young and thus don't have that justification. And we've put it on hold ever since because, to be really honest, this has upset me to no end, and I'm having difficulties persuading him to see why. I don't think those events happened because he was inexperienced and naive. Rather, I feel they are representative of who he is. Since then, we've gone out and gotten drunk together in public, and he's flirted with a number of other women while doing so, even though he always seems to be more interested in me at the end of the night. The fact that this component of his personality is still intact does not imply that he did not have the same opportunities available to him in his earlier years. I feel like I put in a lot of emotional effort to accept him for who he is at the time, and now he isn't willing to do the same for me. According to his imagined world, one drunken kiss would be enough to bring an end to our 7 years of shared existence, and all we've accomplished together. When I fell in love with him so deeply that repeated occurrences and keeping it hidden from me weren't enough to convince me to end our relationship after less than 2 years. Is what I'm saying making sense? Is it because I'm weird, or because he's unforgiving? Or because we're both weird, or because there's some fundamental incompatibility that we hadn't seen before? Even in my darkest moments, I'd contemplated calling it quits and ending the relationship because I believe that if he does not respect it, I am merely setting myself up for failure. However, I believe that this is an overreaction on my part. I think I just need to hear other people's perspectives on things because I don't want to have to reveal his cheating from years ago to my family and current friends because, ironically, I'm afraid it will harm their impression of him. I think I just need to hear other people's perspectives on things because I don't want to have to reveal his cheating from years ago to my family and current friends because, ironically, I'm afraid it will harm their impression of him.